So moving on to the next fight, it'll be the.
What will you do for a green card?
What would you do for a green card? Raymundo Beltran versus Maicelo. Impressive performance from Raymundo Beltran. I think it was the second or third round knockout. He stepped in on the left and just hit him with a left hook, I believe, and pretty much put him to sleep. I noticed in the first round he was getting hit a lot with punches, Beltran, but in the post-fight interview he mentioned that he was seeing the punches. He was just waiting for the perfect opportunity, and obviously Maicelo was throwing good combinations. They just didn't have enough pop. But great job for Beltran. How do you see it?
Man, I mean, that was an explosive knockout. Like, if you would tell me which knockout, I would say the ninth versus David Benavidez versus Jorge Medina, and knockout between Maicelo and Beltran, I would not know what to say. Like you said before, the Benavidez knockout was like a theoretical knockout where you got all these punches like breaking down on a guy. Basically, I don't know if you guys seen like sections of guys, and we are actually watching it now on the back screen, of guys taking apart a gun like in 20 seconds or less. Like, that's what you saw.
Liam Neeson shit.
Exactly.
Taking
versus like an explosion, like a freaking grenade going off. It's basically, which one would I pick? It's like, I don't even know. It's brilliant. I mean, both of them was great knockouts. So I think Raymundo did what he was supposed to. He took this guy apart. Like you said at the beginning, he looked like a little bit rusty. I don't know, or it took time to get his timing, but what a knockout. Like, he did what he was supposed to. Man, he made the night, because
right here, look.
Moving on.
Right there.
And
there goes the
he got him to the body. He put in a combination.
Right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Seven punches, and put him through the ropes. So, impressive. So yeah, I mean, he made the night, because moving to the next topic, I mean, the main event for HBO, Crawford versus Diaz. I think it was a sleeper. It had some action. Diaz brought it the whole night. I'm not going to take anything about Diaz, but it was just one-sided. And
I was expecting, like the whole fight, I was expecting more from Diaz. Like, oh, this is when he's going to get through Crawford. This is when he's going to get through his punches. He shined the most when it was on the inside, which is kind of mirroring how the fight was with Lamont Peterson. When he was on the inside, that's when he really did the most damage. But Terence Crawford, he's a master at range. He's a master at range. I realized that when he fought Victor Postol. When he finds the range on you, especially now when he has range, and then he's obviously very fast, he can pretty much pick you apart. And if you notice Terence Crawford, he likes to stand with his legs really wide, really wide. He really takes up like the footprint of his legs when he stands, pretty much to have range. I think Terence Crawford is a really good master at range. Once he knows how to control that, he knows how far he can come in, how far he can go out, and obviously adjust with speed accordingly, and then he can do enough damage. But masterclass performance from Terence Crawford. Obviously, I didn't see Diaz winning not one round. I think it was all 12 rounds he won. So
you could give like probably a feel sorry round, like
like a gimme round. Like you had that one.
Yeah, that's what, because you put in like 2 punches that caught Terence Crawford.
I noticed towards the end of the fight, Diaz, I don't know if he got a little smarter, but you noticed that he wasn't coming in anymore. He was just standing there in the middle of the ring, and Crawford was like, "Oh, they were posturing like, are you gonna come in? I'm gonna come in." I think at one point in the fight, Terence Crawford became the aggressor, and then obviously, but still, by then he figured him out completely. So
this is the thing. Style make fights, and they both, Diaz as well as Crawford, they fight better in the back foot. And if y'all saw when Diaz had his best momentum, which was not much, it was because he was in his back foot. Yeah. He was against the rope, and that's when he was telling Crawford, he was doing like this to Crawford, and Crawford was like, and he took out his tongue and was like, "No, I'm not gonna play your game," because he knew if he would have gotten there, it would have been a Diaz. He would give Diaz the advantage. And same thing with Crawford. Crawford is the same way. When Diaz is coming to it, that's when he's at his best, and most at the southpaw position, which he at the end, if y'all remember, Kellerman asked him why he did it. He was like, oh, he was all cocky. He was like, yeah, because I could do whatever I freaking want. It's my ring, whatever. But one thing I feel disappointed about Diaz, and this is a kid who is Olympic gold medalist. I feel that he didn't cut the ring well, and for an Olympic gold medalist, you know, he should at least know how to do this. These are like basic stuff for knowing, like learning to box and getting around on a jab. You know, a guy who had fought different opposition through his amateur career. Another thing I think Joel Diaz did a terrible job, man. Like basically just telling him do more work. I think he was already doing as much work. Tell him
use the technique, man.
Yeah, basically, I think that he should have given him advice on what to do, how to get around that jab, or you know, cut the ring or do something. If I would have been Joel Diaz, I would have told him bend your knees, get a little low. You're the lower guy, and try to come in straight, at least with a double jab to the chest or to the face to get in, or feint, move to the side, and then land that hook that he was putting in the whole night. That would have been an idea, but he was just telling him puto.
Like, bitch, do more work. He's like, that's
do more work. That's not a good advice, man. Like, you gotta give your guy,
especially with a fighter like Crawford, who's so technically sound. You
exactly.
Need more than just outwork him.
You gotta, and basically, same. That was the same situation where you go to the postal fight. Postal trying to get to Crawford, or if you want to put Maicelo trying to get a postal. When you don't know how to get it's really difficult when you're the smaller guy, or when you're the less rangier guy. It's hard to get to a missile kind of jab.
And even when you do get close, you gotta sacrifice. Exactly. You gotta take some punches to even deliver your punishment. And
Diaz's show, the guy who's been knocked down, like I mentioned in the previous episode, knocked down his amateur, and you know he'd been hurt a couple of times. He showed he had a chin. You know, he could take Crawford punches. He just, like you said, he was just coming in lineal, like straight to that jab,
lunging right in. His best punch was that overhand right.
Yeah, and so I think that it was a technique, like you said, and basically he should have do a little more to get around that jab. You know, feint a little bit, double jab coming in.
He's short. He could have just got really small, got under and gone to the body.
Going to the body, or feint and boom, get in there. Like, try to, you know.
I mean, even Matisse does that. Like, if anything, become smaller, move your head, so when he hits you with the jab, he's hitting down, and then from there, just come up with a body shot. Slow him down.
That's something that he didn't do, and that I felt disappointed, because, you know, we Dominican, and we wanted, at least, you know, Crawford's my guy. That's one of my favorite boxers, but at least I wanted to see a competitive fight, which it was not whatsoever. But where do you want to see Crawford next?
Julius Sandango. That'll be the most logical thing he could do, unify the titles. I see that being as a tough fight, because I think that Julius Sandango, I mentioned it before when we talked about the Ricky Burns fight, he's very rangy. And a lot of times, the stoppages that Ndango has, due to his ranginess, he's able to generate that power and put his opponents to sleep. But he's not like, if you look at the Ricky Burns fight, on tape, they were the same size. You could tell Ndango was not taller, but the rangier, lankier guy. He has more range in his arms. So when he throws a punch, it really gets to you. So Crawford is a not tall guy, but he's a rangy guy as well. So I think it would be an interesting fight, because one thing about Terence Crawford I noticed, he's a master at range, especially when you fought tall Victor Postol. So I think when you fight fighters like that, you have to figure that out first before you can take any punishment. So that's the most logical fight next. And if they can unify all the titles, then honestly, be the undisputed, have all the titles at 140, I mean, definitely be better than Garcia at that division. And if he unifies all the titles, there's no word for him to go up to 47. And 47, man, I don't know. That's another topic altogether, how Terence Crawford will look at 147 pounds. I think the only thing that would concern me would be if his power and his physicality can't remember, but that's a topic that doesn't need to be discussed right now. But the skill's there. I think he would give a lot of people 47 based on skill alone a lot of problems. So
yeah, he did call out Keith Thurman. He called out Manny Pacquiao.
He called out Garcia. He called everybody.
I mean, yeah, he in the previous
year called
Garcia. And I mean, I also want to see talking about Garcia, WBC mandated an interim between Garcia and Sean Porter.
That'd be nice.
I left this fight for the last for a reason. Gervonta Davis versus Leon Walsh. So, your thoughts?
I have that on my face. I apologize to everyone. I predicted that Liam Walsh should be victorious in the fight due to...
And I was mad. I called it. I said
I thought they were just going to rob him overseas, but I'm pretty sure that Gervonta Davis came with a plan to not let it go to the judges, obviously, as it ended. The only thing I can gather from that fight is that Liam Walsh started out good, but I could tell the fight was taking a bad turn on the second round when he started going on the inside. Like, what are you doing? You're the taller guy. Use your range. He started trying to fight on the inside. Like, what are you trying to prove? Win smart. Be intelligent. That's when it all went to shit. When Gervonta Davis started getting in close to him, touching him, that's when he up. It's an over from there, and pretty much, you guys saw pretty much decimated him. He got up. The referee let him continue, and I thought it was a fair stoppage. Everything was well, but if you ask me, am I sold on him? Not yet. I just can't do it.
I mean, the thing is that you can't compare him to Lomachenko. You gotta see that he's an upcoming. He's only 22 years old. This kid, he's not gonna beat.
I mean, he's good. Look, I'm not gonna say he's not good. He's good, but to put him as the best is too much.
He's not. But I'm saying he's what we think he is. He's a next coming fighter that if they manage him well and put him, like, look at this decision. Mayweather took him to the UK and put him to a supposedly great threat. A guy that he was undefeated too. He was undefeated. He was a threat, and he just walked over him. I'm not saying that he's gonna beat Lomachenko. I'm not saying that he even Salido will give him a great fight. If I bring up guys like
we have Francisco Vargas,
he's
kind of washed out already.
He's a lower division, but if you bring in, like I said, if you bring in guys like Frampton or
that'd be a good fight.
This other kid, Santa Cruz.
Santa Cruz, that'd be a great fight. Because he throws a bunch of punches. Punches and bunches.
If you bring any of these three guys up,
that would be very, very good fight.
Those are good fights, and for me, those are 50-50 fights. But the thing is that he's only 22 years old, and he had proven that he's the goods. So
okay, so I can say he's very good.
Exactly.
I'm not taking anything away, but me personally, I mean, it doesn't matter what I think. Obviously, he's a good fighter. This is my personal opinion. For me to put him as great. The only reason I'm saying this is because I haven't seen him really go the distance against a higher level opposition.
Yeah,
that's really my only thing. But I was saying, if that's the case, then I would say the same about Triple G then, and saying because he hasn't gone to the distance. But
I mean, he just proved against Jacobs. But I mean, Gervonta did and I felt like he was a couple bad fight before because I thought that Pedraza was going to give him was going to take him to deep waters, and he did. And so, Wash, like. If I would have to pick Pedraza versus Walsh, I think Pedraza would have just like took apart Walsh, or Walsh, whatever his name is.
Liam Walsh.
Yeah, Liam. So honestly, I got to give the kid the credit. I can't, all day long just saying, I'm not saying that he's, pound for pound. I'm not saying that. I'm not going taking him to that level, but I'm saying he's the good. That he's a promising guy. Like for instance, Errol Spence, a promising guy. On Saturday, we will know if Errol Spence is good or not. So basically, and this is a reason why I left the Gervonta Davis fight for
those are overseas fights.
For not just that, because he picked Kell Brook. And if y'all go back and watch that on our timeline, he picked Kell Brook, I picked Errol Spence. And now is the time to change your mind. If this is going to be 2 weeks in a row.
I think
2 weeks in a row picking the wrong if Errol Spence wins. So
no, I think no. You know what? Errol Spence. I've mentioned in the past. Errol Spence is one of my favorite fighters. I just feel that it's a tall order, man. It's just, I mean, for him to do that. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. It's just a very tough fight. Like Kell Brook is really good. And I'm not saying that, just say that, but I mean, look at the level of opposition he's fought. He's a big welterweight, not taller, bigger, but just physically a bigger guy. He's obviously made weight. Obviously, he said he's had no problem making the weight. You can tell he doesn't look drained. He looks very muscular.
He already made
the skills there. He's very physical. Like look, if one thing's for sure, if Errol Spence Jr. wins this fight, I'm sold. I'm a believer. I'll be sold. Like, I like Errol Spence. It's just the fact is he's fighting in hostile territory. Errol Spence is not just a random. He's not a Liam Boris. This is their guy. But
like, was supposed to get the hometown advantage.
Oh yeah, Japan.
He got robbed his hometown.
Yeah. No, but with Kell Brook, it's more. He's like next to Amir Khan's fell off big time. Like he's basically right now. He's like the Amir Khan of the UK. Like this guy's the biggest thing since sliced bread out there. So, well, excuse me, with the exception of Joshua, but at that division, pretty much. That's how I see it. So, me, I like Errol Spence as a boxer. He reminds me. One of the reasons I like him a lot. He reminds me a lot of Danny Garcia. The way he fights, he throws a lot of hooks. He just comes in with his power. And he's more mobile. I like this character, very humble guy. But just looking at a guy like Kell Brook, you know, physically bigger, has a hometown crowd. What he did to Sean Porter, who basically, Sean Porter, anyone he fights, you can look at Sean Porter's resume, it looks dirty. And even if Sean Porter and Danny Garcia happens, it's going to be such a dirty fight. Like, man, it's going to be hard to win it on paper. But he took that fight, clinched him to death. Jab him, wouldn't let him come in, and you look at stuff like that, like, man, the guy's good at what he does. So I'm gonna have to stick with my decision. I'm gonna stick with Kell Brook. And
I mean,
next week I'll have more egg on my face. I already have it because I have big Liam Walsh. So
I mean, this is the thing.
I like Errol Spence. I'm not saying I don't, man. Hey,
I don't know if I said it before,
but I'm trying to think logically. I'm looking at Kell Brook, and
I can't remember if I said it on the previous podcast, but I mean on a previous show. But it would have happened before the Triple G fight. I would have gave Kell Brook the advantage as well. But the way that Spence had carried himself, the way he had taken these, because his opponents are not the best, but the way he had taken them apart.
especially Leonard Bundu fight.
Bundu, Keith Thurman. I mean, I would favor Kell Brook versus Keith Thurman. Right now, I'll see. But the way that, if you compare the way that Spence and Keith Thurman fought Bundu, Spence took him apart. The way that he took apart even Pacquiao,
yeah.
Pacquiao,
he knocked him down several times.
Pacquiao, like there were 6 times that he knocked them out. I don't know if they consider only 4 of them as knocked down, but and played around. He was like those tigers when they playing with their food. That's what like Pacquiao looked up against Algeria, but this guy just came and took him apart. Like,
I think that the thing with Spence is that he's, like I said before, Spence is a dedicated body puncher. And like I say, if he gets a Brook on the body, you know, especially draining to make weight, it could be the difference in the fight. That water retention, man.
So because he looks good right now. Like he's at 148. He posted on his IG on his Twitter account. He's at 148, and that was like what, 2 days ago. So maybe, and this is what I don't understand. He's been complaining about making the weight for the longest, and now all of a sudden he's at weight 3 or 4 days before the weigh-in, which look weird. You know, those scales, they look funny as fuck. Like even when he posted against the Triple G fight that he was super big, like a 175, I think it was, like a month before the fight, and he looked shredded, like. And he looks good, like he looks in shape right now, like at 148, if it's true that he's at 148. But he looks really good, and if he looks like that, and all he had to lose is 1 pound, and he will hydrate, he is the bigger guy. I mean, Spence is a taller guy, but he is the physically bigger guy, and that might give Spence a problem. But when you dehydrate yourself, and you're coming from a weight that you haven't made in over a year or so, because his last fight was against Triple G on September, and he fought Triple G at 160. He hadn't made 147 in over a year now. Because his previous fight before that was like 6 months before that or so, and so it's been a year he hadn't made the weight. So if he somehow is making the weight, but he's struggling, and those body shots, like he says, are going to take him apart. And I could see Spence winning by a knockout if. And also, let's not forget that audible bone that Triple G broke, where he just came out not so long ago. The only fishy thing is that
titanium.
Yeah. The only fishy thing is that they never shown like actual records, doctor's records showing that what they did to him, you know, like breaking it down, etc. But as what he's saying that they took the eye out, they put that team on the eye and put it back in.
It's personal to him.
He's putting out there stuff like that. I'll keep to myself, like Maicelo did. You know, he had the same kind of injury against Postal, and so supposedly it was actually Danny Garcia who caused the damage. But you know, Postal just beating on it just made it worse. So Maicelo never gave any details, and I think that's good because your opponent could
doesn't
think
need to know that.
Yeah, exactly. If you're telling your opponent, you're the public, oh yeah, they took my eye out, they put it back in, and they're like, yeah,
he's gonna beat on that.
Exactly, my point, and that's where I want to go. So little things like that, and the way Spence had looked, God tell me that Spence is, and another thing.
Yeah, but I don't think Spence. I think Spence is not going to change his game plan. I think he's going to stick to the body, regardless of what his thing. He'll probably mix it up. I think he's going to just dedicate himself to what he does best.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he's going to go to the body, and because he mixed it up. He just not only go to the body. He'll put like one punch up there and two downstairs. That's how he does. So if you do one to the eye and two to the body, and the guy
over time there's going to be more to the body anyway.
Exactly, but a guy who have a damaged orbital bone and a guy who's struggling to make weight, I see that in stoppage. I see like I said in the previous, and you have to go back and watch it. I think I picked the 8-round knockout, TKO. I think he's gonna end up stoppage. Like I said, you're trying to redeem yourself and pick Spence, and the truth, man down. But let's move on to the rumors and Miguel Cotto.
How would I look if I just jumped off the? Look, I'm gonna stick with Brooke. I like I said, if Errol Spence wins this fight, but one of the reasons that I'm not picking him, and I hate to harp on this, is because with the thing with Errol Spence is that he stops his opponents. I'm not saying he doesn't, but it just takes time. He's not like a one punch.
He's like
down.
Triple G. Yeah, he's like
right. He's pressure, and like breaking it down.
He doesn't have, but neither does Kell Brook. Kell Brook's the same way. Kell Brook take you apart. Like he doesn't. You got slapping his punches. He works you out. So basically, that's the same thing. I mean,
I don't know. I'll have it on my face next week, and we'll see.
Let's see what happens.